Hey, everybody. I just wanted to go live today and record a video for you guys in regards to a topic that's been on my mind a lot lately, and that's yoga for yoga and meditation for panic attacks. So there's a lot of misconceptions when we think about meditation and what that's all about. For many of us, the misconception is that meditation is contemplation, and it can be depending on what you are using it for. But when we think about the true definition of contemplation, we're really thinking about a concept, engaging our mind, inquiring about a certain topic. But when we are asked to meditate, we aren't really asking ourselves to think of a topic. We're actually trying to go beyond that, beyond the place of thought, withdraw the senses. Meditation tends to be confused. People get scared away and don't meditate or don't try to learn the practice because they're afraid that it's like auto-suggestion or hypnosis. And hypnosis is a suggestion made to the mind, and there is an attempt to reprogram or program the mind or manipulate the mind in a way. But when we meditate, we're doing this in a way where we simply observe the flow of our thoughts, let the mind become quiet and calm, and start to experience things on a deeper level. There's often a misconception that meditation also identifies with religion. And while it doesn't really specifically belong to a culture or a group of people, it is a method of exploring our inner dimensions of our own lives. So sometimes religion can show up in meditation, but it is not auto-suggestion, such as you start meditating and all of a sudden you're a Buddhist or a Hindu, or you practice Hinduism. Meditation itself is really far removed from the belief of class or creed. But what it does mean is that if you take this time to learn about yourself and the inner workings of your mind, that eventually we can find peace. So I'm a psychotherapist. I have a license in clinical psychology and counseling and a drug and alcohol certification. And one of the things that I have noticed is that there is a lack of different tools that are made specifically for meditating for anxiety, or people have a hard time figuring out how to access them. So I was thinking about using and combining some of the skills that I have learned as a therapist, as well as some of the skills that I have learned as a yoga practitioner, to share with you some of those practices today. The first way that I think would be helpful to kind of incorporate meditation and mindfulness in dealing with anxiety and panic attacks is to teach you this non-acronym acronym. And it stands for SBRC: stop, breathe, reflect, choose. And it's a little tool that I teach my clients when I'm trying to help them center and ground themselves and create some space between themselves and the onset of a panic attack. So when we stop, we kind of want to become a witness to what's actually happening versus allowing what's happening when we are dealing with panic attacks to take over and control ourselves. So when we stop, the next step is to breathe, taking a deep inhalation through both nostrils and allowing the three parts of your belly to expand. And when you reach the top of your breath, you want a forceful exhalation from your nose to your belly, contracting all the stale air until you empty your body fully and completely. So we're connecting our brain to our body in a way that will allow us to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And why that's important is that oftentimes when we are in a state of panic, we are starting to fight for our safety. We think that there is an issue, that there's a problem. There may be even something our body and mind thinks it needs to run from to keep us safe. So it's kind of like the fight, flight, freeze concept, where we know that there's a perception of danger and we're doing everything in our power to keep ourselves safe. And the mind does the same thing. To keep us safe, it may start to create a system of escapism or panic, or even wanting to run or freeze, not knowing what to do. So when we stop, when we breathe, we start to allow ourselves to regulate our breath in a way that we can have a little bit more control over the flow of our thoughts. And the next part of this technique is to choose, stop, breathe, reflect on the flow of our thoughts. Why is this happening at this current moment in time? What is this message trying to teach me? And then choose, see what is skillful, what is effective, what can be helpful in this situation. But the most important part of that whole technique is activating the breath and deciding what you want to remember. It's a cognitive behavioral technique using mindfulness principles. Hopefully it can be helpful to you. The second thing to do when we're struggling with panic attacks is to notice what is happening instead of identifying with it or becoming it. And third, when we practice these mindfulness principles with other practices like meditation, we can remember that we're not alone. When we pause, we can take 5 deep breaths, and at any time, those 5 deep breaths may help us to reduce feelings of anxiety or stress. So I'd like to take some time today to guide you through a meditation to investigate any sort of panic attacks or anxiety you might be experiencing. So before we begin, when you do this as a regular practice, I'd like you to think for yourself, is this the right time for me to do it? Do I feel particularly or reasonably open to meditation? If you don't, maybe just doing some mindful breathing and then coming back to the meditation at another time. So today, I invite you to find a comfortable seat. So allowing yourself to sit comfortably, tall on your spine. We're going to allow ourselves to come into a place where it feels safe for us to close our eyes. So if that feels right for you, I invite you to let your eyes soften or rest. And if it does not feel safe or right for you, I will invite you to allow your gaze to look downward, looking somewhere down towards the earth, or maybe if you're sitting in a room or a chair, maybe looking where the baseboard and the wall meet in that specific space. And so we'll take some time to thank ourselves for showing up today for this meditation, this precious time and space for ourselves. And I invite you, if you'd like to, include an intention for your practice. An intention can be a thought, it can be a word, it can be a phrase. It can be a set of syllables that mean something to you specifically. Perhaps there's a prayer that you like to use within your own practice. So we'll take a few moments in silence and allow ourselves to bring that intention into our mind's eye. And with our eyes closed or soft, I invite you to mentally repeat that intention to seal it into your subconscious mind 3 times. Once you've chosen your intention, I'll invite you to begin to focus on the flow of your breath. Feeling any sensations that are coming up in your body. Becoming aware of your body and your mind and whatever you might be carrying with you today. Perhaps there's a feeling from the day or any sort of events from the day that have been going on in your life recently. And just simply bring those into our mind's eye and allowing ourselves to imagine them, allowing them, and accepting them for whatever those thoughts may be. We're going to do this with freedom from analysis or judgment. May you simply acknowledge those thoughts for what they are. and bring those flow of your thoughts now into a space where you can perhaps create a jar, or perhaps you can create some sort of container for these specific thoughts that have been weighing on you or disturbing the flow of your practice. And once you've decided what kind of container or jar you'd like to use for your practice, I invite you to imagine yourself or visualize yourself beginning to twist off the lid of that jar, and one by one beginning to bring into that jar those thoughts that might be disturbing you or causing you pain or distress. And with your eyes soft and closed, you can name each thought as you begin to bring it into your jar. And when you're ready, I invite you to visualize yourself putting a lid on that jar and manually twisting the lid until you can seal it tightly. We'll have an opportunity at the end of our meditation to come back to this jar. And at that time, we can decide whether or not we'd like to leave those thoughts there or bring them with us as we move forward within our day. For a few breaths now, I'd like to invite you to shift your awareness to your nostrils. And here, allowing yourself to determine if, as you take a breath in through the nostrils, the temperature of your air in your nostrils, the flow of your breath is cool or warm. And gradually beginning to shift the focus of your awareness to your breath, and noticing if anything's changed since we've begun our practices. As we start off our meditative practice, I invite you to observe the quality of your breath. Today, is the quality of your breath smooth and deep? Is it without pause? Can you find freedom from jerking? Is the inhale equal to the exhale with the same amount of length and strength and force? My wish for you in your practice today is that you be free from the thoughts that may disturb you, that you allow yourself to focus on your breath. And we'll take a few moments scanning our body for tension or tightness. We'll start by relaxing the skin on our forehead, relaxing through your eyebrows and your eyelids, letting your eyes begin to drift back into your eye sockets, and relaxing through your temples and your inner ears. Slowly allowing your lips to part and letting your jaw move from side to side, left and right. Removing any tension and tightness. We'll relax any holding in our upper arms and our elbows. And as you travel down to the wrists and the fingers, relaxing any tension that you might be holding there. Relaxing through your heart and chest and lungs this morning. Sending a nice deep exhalation down to the navel center as you draw your abdominal contents up and in towards your spine. We'll relax through the glutes and the back side of our body. Relaxing through the thighs, backs of the knees. We'll relax through the shin bones, calves, heels, and toes. And I'll invite you now to take a spinal breath in through the soles of your feet. And as you do this, as you bring the breath in through the soles of your feet, I want you to visualize you taking that breath into the body in a circular motion. As we do that, we'll allow the breath to travel up the front of our body, collecting with it any debris, any tension or tightness, any fears or doubt, any negativity. And when you reach the top of your breath, I'll invite you to allow that breath to crest like a wave, allowing that breath to wash down the base of your spine, draining out the soles of your feet and beyond. And we'll take a few more relaxed, deep breaths here. And we'll get into our meditation a little bit more deeply now. For just this moment, living just this life that we have, we'll take one inhalation and one exhalation at a time. Breathing in and breathing out. Experiencing each breath appearing and disappearing, just breathing. And now beginning to gently draw your awareness from the breath to shift to a mindful inquiry. When we inquiry of the mind or mindful inquiry, we begin to investigate our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, any physical sensations that the body is experiencing. Maybe some of the things that might be drawing or might be contributing to our anxiety or driving our panic. Certain things below the surface that we know about, things that are in our awareness that maybe we want to escape or forget. There is a special and unique way of doing this practice that can foster a deep understanding and insight for our fears, our doubts, our worries. When you practice mindful inquiry, gently direct your attention into bodily feelings and maybe of the idea of panic or fear itself. Allowing yourself to bring non-judgmental awareness into the experience of it and acknowledging whatever it feels like in the body and mind and letting it be. To begin this exploration, you need to check in with yourself and determine whether or not it's safe for you. If you do not feel safe, perhaps it's better to wait and try this for another time, or whether to try this in front of your therapist or with your therapist. If you are feeling safe, then I invite you to bring your awareness into the body and the mind and allowing yourself to feel and acknowledge any physical sensations, any emotions that you might be experiencing, any thoughts, and just let them be for the time. We're not trying to figure them out or analyze them in this moment. You might discover that within these feelings, there are a multitude of thoughts and emotions, maybe old messages or memories or fears. When you begin to acknowledge what has not been acknowledged, the pathway of insight and understanding may arise. As you tune towards your emotions, they may show you what you are panicked, worried, mad, sad, or bewildered about. You may learn that the very resistance to unacknowledged emotions often causes more panic and fear, and that learning to go with it rather than fighting them often diminishes them. When we say go with it, we mean that you will allow yourself to acknowledge whatever sensations are going on in the mind and the body. Just letting the waves of emotions, thoughts, and physical sensations go wherever they need to go, just like the sky makes room for any weather. Now, gently returning to your breath and becoming more mindful of your breathing in and out. Know that it's possible to just ride the waves versus become them. As you come to the end of this meditation today, take a moment to thank yourself and take a moment to appreciate the safety and ease you may be feeling right now as you bring the day forward. By acknowledging our fears, we may be able to possibly go deeper into understanding them, creating space and compassion and peace for them. Before you get going, I invite you to bring your palms together and start to bring energy and heat between your palms, starting to roll your hands back and forth until you have all the heat between your hands that you can tolerate. And we'll allow our hands to come over our closed eyelids, feeling the warmth of our palms against the eyes. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and remove your hands from your face and bring your hands into your heart. I invite you to send some feelings of loving kindness your way. May you dwell in peace today. May you be safe and filled with peace as you move on. With your eyes soft and closed, I want you to bring back into our meditation the worry jar. And if you'd like to reopen that worry jar, I invite you to take those steps at this time. But if you feel in this moment you'd like to leave these worries with this meditation, I'll carry them for you and I'll send them off into the universe, bury them so that they don't come back to you. My wish for you is wellness, happiness, and peace. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May your days be free from freedom. May your days be free from suffering and pain. And may you experience the freedom that can come from these joys. Taking this meditation for what you need it for, leaving all of the rest behind. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste.